Acheinu, Acheinu kol beis
There are
Yisrael.
many thoughts in the man's heart. So I believe it is written in the Holy Torah. Uh, I don't have to translate the passage for you. And in regard to whom do I say this? I say this in regard to myself. If I would have had the good sense to listen to my wife, Shana Shandel, the entire event wouldn't ever have taken place. But it is said, when God sees fit to punish a man, he first takes away his common sense. How many times have I thought to myself, look, Menachem Mendel, you're not supposed to be the complete fool. How could you have allowed yourself to be taken in so completely and in such a foolish way? Whose business is it whether Menachem Mendel has money or not? Was anyone concerned with Menachem Mendel when he lay buried 9 feet deep, wrapped in his poverty like a dead man in the shroud? Did the world care when he starved 3 times a day together with his wife and children? But lo and behold, when God turned his countenance toward Menachem Mendel and caused him to prosper all at once, so that finally, at last, he was beginning to arrive, beginning to save up a ruble now and then, that's when everyone came to me with a different suggestion. One tells me to invest in wheat, another in timber, but my head was filled with dreams and fantasies, things that have never been on land or sea. You might ask how it came to pass. I'll answer in the words of the Haggadah. We were slaves. It was fate. That's all. Listen to my woeful tale. It was a bear market, and shares were selling for a song. So since you didn't have to invest a lot of money, I thought I would try my hand at the stock exchange. Maybe luck would be on my side. So I sent off a fast letter to my wife, informing her of my dealings. To my beloved wife, the wise and chaste Shana Shandel, greetings. First, I wish to inform you that I am, praise the Lord, in good health and at peace. God grant that we may always receive good tidings from each other. Amen. Secondly, I wish to inform you that I am no longer in Odessa. I am in Yehupitz and not trading in Luft anymore. No more wind, air, and London. I am, heaven be praised, now engaged in a respectable and profitable business. You might say I'm in the paper business. To be exact, I'm dealing in papers. Now, you might ask, how did I get to Yehupitz? It's a long story, my dear wife, and I want to ask you to forgive me for not writing you any sooner. Besides, I figured I was going home any day now, and the Lord is my witness that I felt an urge to go home, but evidently it was ordained by heaven that I should land in Yehupitz and trade in papers. So I was already on the train when I happened to run into a speculator from Odessa who was going to Yehupitz. I asked him what business he was in, so he tells me that he trades in papers. Well, what do you mean by papers? I asked. Then he explained to me the difference between papers and London. London depends on Berlin and on Bismarck and on the Queen of England. Papers, that's something that is affected only by St. Petersburg and Warsaw. And it has still another advantage. It is something you can see with your eyes and feel with your hands, unlike London, which is only a figment of the imagination. In short, the man had me so worked up that I just couldn't resist. I figured that, since I had to go past Warsaw anyway, I might as well stop over and see the speculators. And the Lord was gracious to me. I bought papers, and the papers went up. I sold my shares at a profit and bought a few more. Then I had quite another windfall, and I laid my hands on quite a few hundred rubles. So I said to myself, why should I be paying out money to another man for these papers when I could buy the papers on my own? So I made connections with St. Petersburg through a brokerage and loaded up my portfolio with quite an assortment. Putilov and Transport and Volga and Moltsev and similar stocks that are climbing upward, and praise be to heaven, I am thriving. And as I have no time, I'm making this letter short. In my next letter, God willing, I shall tell you everything in detail. Meanwhile, may the Lord grant us good health and prosperity. Give my fondest regards to the children and to my father and mother-in-law. P.S. when writing to me, address my mail to Boibrek, since I am not allowed to live in Yehupitz. Very few Jews are. All day long, I hang around the exchange, and when night falls, I'm off to Boibrek, where the whole crowd of speculators live in summer cottages and play cards all night long, men and women together. That's the custom here. And quite early in the morning, everybody makes a dash for Yehupitz, and so do I.
I sold out everything to the last ruble. I threw a bundle of hay to my horse, and now I can walk around the town. I want to see something of the world, breathe some fresh air, take a look at the wonders that Yehupitz displays behind glass windows, as though to say, Tevye, feast your eyes all you want, but keep your hands and your money to yourself. God in heaven, if I had only a tenth of what all of this is worth, what more could I ask of God, and who would be my equal? I would sell my horse and wagon and my cows and move into town. I would buy myself a synagogue seat by the eastern wall, hang strings of pearls around my wife's neck, and hand out charity like the richest householders. I would get rid of Yankel Shagitz, Puy is president of the Burial Society. There's been enough gulping of brandy and guzzling of chicken livers at public expense.
Shalom Aleichem, Reb Tevye.
Oh, I could swear I've seen this face somewhere before. Aleichem Sholem. And where do you hail from?
Your wife Gold is my second cousin once removed.
Hold on. Aren't you Bur Hersh Leah Dvosh's son-in-law?
You hit the nail right on the head. I am Burchesh Leah Dvosh's son-in-law, and my wife is Shani Shendel, Burchesh Leah Dvosh's daughter. Now do you know who I am?
Wait. Your mother-in-law's grandmother, Suriente, and my wife's aunt, Frumizlate, were, I believe, first cousins. And if I'm not mistaken, you are the middle son-in-law of Bur Hersh Leah Dvosh's. But I forgot what they call you. Your name has flown right out of my head.
My name is Menachem Mendel Burchesh Leah Dvosh's. That's what they call me at home in Kasrilivke.
If that's the case, my dear Menachem Mendel, I really owe you a Shalom Aleichem and a hearty one. Now, tell me, my friend, what are you doing here? And how are your mother-in-law and your father-in-law? How is your health and how is business with you?
As far as my health, thank God I'm still alive, but business is not so great.
It'll get better with God's help. Don't despair. God will come to your aid. Business will get better, no doubt. As the proverb says, all is vanity. Money is fickle. It's here today and gone tomorrow. The main thing is to stay alive and keep on hoping. A Jew must never stop hoping. Do we wear ourselves down to a shadow in the meanwhile? That's why we are Jews. What do they say? If you're a soldier, you have to smell gunpowder. A man is like a broken pot. The world is nothing but a dream. So tell me, Menachem Mendel, how do you happen to be in Yehupitz all of a sudden?
What do you mean, how do I happen to be in Yehupitz all of a sudden?
Well, you're living in Yehupitz.
Don't talk so loud, Reb Tevye. I am living in Yehupitz, but that's just between you and me.
You're a fugitive, God forbid, and you hide in the middle of a public square.
Don't ask, Reb Tevye. You're apparently not acquainted with the laws and customs of Yehupitz. Listen, and I'll explain to you how a man can live here and still not live here. Yehupitz is a city where Jews are not allowed to live unless they hold a first-class commercial license. Well, when I sell out my portfolio and see how I stand, I'll apply for such a license. Then I'll be able to live in Yehupitz like the rest of them. But for the present, I have to hide from the police, and there is no better hiding place than Boiberek. Now do you understand?
Take my advice, Menachem Mendel. Come along with me to the country for a day and rest your tired bones. You will be a guest at our modest home in Anatevka, a very welcome guest. My wife will be overjoyed to see you. such a guest, a second cousin once removed. After all, blood is thicker than water.
Look at who is here. Menachem Mendel. What's new in Kasrilivke? How is Uncle Borich Hersh and Aunt Leah Devosha and Uncle Yassel Menashen and Aunt Dobrish? Oh, and how are their children? Who has died recently? Oh, who has been married? Oh, who is divorced? Oh, who has given birth? And who is expecting?
What do you care about other people's weddings and circumcisions? Better see to it that we get something to eat, as it is written. All who are hungry, enter and be fed. Nobody likes to dance on an empty stomach. If you give us a borscht, fine. If not, I'll take knishes or kreplach, kugel or dumplings. Ooh, blintzes with cheese will suit me too. Make anything you like, and the more the better, but do it quickly. Sit and eat, Menachem Mendel, eat. Forget the world. As King David once said, it's a stupid world and a deceitful one. As my grandmother Nechome of blessed memory liked to say, health and happiness are only to be found at the table.
I swear by everything that's holy, I can't remember when I've eaten such a wonderful dairy meal, such perfect, knishes, delicious kreplach. Oh.
You should taste her Lokshen Kugel. Then you would know what heaven on earth can be. Now, tell me, Menachem Mendel, how is Geschäft? How is business?
Oh, well, if it's not your Hoppitz, it's Odessa. See, I deal in stocks, bonds, shares, schmez, schmaltz of the devil alone knows what it is, but sometimes it's 10,000, sometimes 20 and 30,000.
I'll tell you the truth, your business sounds very complicated. You need brains to understand all of that. But what puzzles me most is this. From what I know of your better half, it's a miracle that she lets you go traipsing around the world and doesn't come riding after you on a broomstick.
Don't remind me. Oh, I get enough from her, both hot and cold. You know, if you could see the letter she writes to me, you'd say that I'm a saint to put up with her. But, well, that's what a wife is for, to bury her husband alive. And I also have, as you know, a tzatska for a mother-in-law. I don't have to go into detail. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, I received a letter from Shane the Shandel. If you have a minute, I'll read it to you. Listen, to my honored and dear husband, the distinguished scholar Menachem Mendel, salutations.
Firstly, I am pleased to inform you that we are all, thank the Lord, in the best of health. God grant that we may hear the same from you. Secondly, dear husband, may my enemies have as much strength to live as I have strength to write you even a short letter. I am barely able to hobble along. It is quite possible I shall need a peperation, but that's what the new doctor claims. May misfortune claim him for a victim, and may the plagues of Pharaoh descend upon his head. He thinks I'm going to let him fleece me. And what do you suppose is the cause of it all? You! Here I send you money for traveling expenses and admonish you to come home. So you up and go to Yechupitz instead. You deserve to be buried alive. Think of the heartache and humiliation you have caused me. Papers, transactions, enterprises. I figured that you'd be coming home while there was still a breath of life in you, sweet breadwinner of mine. What happens instead? A new dream. A dismal, bleak Yechupitz. Papers! Isn't this a fine line of business? Can you imagine Jews trading in scraps of paper? As I read your letter, dear husband, I kept on wondering whether it's you who are crazy or me that's out of my mind, heaven forbid. Why? You write sheer gibberish. Papers, Petersburg, portfolio. Some Dybbuk, an evil spirit must have taken possession of you. By day you are in Yechupetz and by night in Boiberik? Men and women all mixed up together? I'd like to know what you do in Boiberik at night. What are you thinking of anyway? Now look here. If you don't want me, come home and divorce me. If you don't care to, then go to America, then at least I won't know what's happened to your sorry carcass. But my enemies won't live to see that day. You're lucky I can't undertake the trip to you just now. I have, alas, been so severely punished that I am laid up most of the time. And as my mother, bless her, puts it, if you haven't any fingers, you can't thumb your nose. But for my illness, I would have come to Yechupetz immediately after receiving your beautiful letter, and you can rest assured I would have dragged you home. I would have shown you how to make a laughing stock of your wife. True enough, I can sometimes let fall an angry word, but that doesn't last long. As mother would say, a match flames up, but is soon extinguished. Wishing you the same, I'm your truly devoted wife, Shana Shandel.
It is with you as it is written. You have a boil on top of a boil and a blister on top of that.
Yes, you put it very well, Reptevia. The boil is bad enough in itself, but the blister's worse than the boil. Listen, Reptevia. Since the stock market has for a long time been in such a state that money is held in high esteem and the goods are held very low, you, Tevye, have a chance to make yourself a pretty penny.
You talk like a child. You must think I have some big sum of money to invest.
Yeah, I know that you're telling me, but what makes you think we need big money? If you'll give me 100 rubles now, I can turn it around in 3 or 4 days into 200 or 300 or 600 or maybe even into 1,000 rubles. Huh?
Who says I have anything to invest at all? It's as Rashi says, you came in alone and you go out by yourself. Or as I like to put it, if you plant a stone, up comes a boulder.
Come now, you know you could dig up 100 rubles with all the money you're earning and with your good name.
A good name is an excellent thing, but what comes of it? I keep my name, and the Rothschild keeps all the money. If you want to know the truth, all my savings come to less than 100 rubles, and I have 24 uses for it.
Now, that's just what I've been trying to tell you. When will you have another opportunity to put in only 100 rubles and to take out, with God's help, enough money to do all those dozens of things? If you have 100 rubles, you tell them to buy 10 pieces of your Yechupetz paper. Then you wait a few days until they go up. You send a telegram and tell them to sell the 10 pieces and buy twice as much for the money. Then you wait and they rise again. You shoot off another telegram. You keep doing this until the 100 rubles become 200, then 400, then 800, then 1,600. It's no less than a miracle from heaven. There are people in your Yechupetz who until recently went barefoot. They didn't have a pair of shoes to their names. They worked as porters and messengers. Now they own palatial homes. Their wives have expensive stomach ailments. They go abroad for cures. They fly themselves all over your Yechupetz on rubber wheels. They don't recognize old friends anymore. Huh?
Who knows? Suppose the wheel could turn and Tevye becomes somebody in his old age? How much longer can I keep on toiling from dawn until dusk, day in and day out? It's time, Tevye, that you took a little rest, became a man among men, went into the synagogue once in a while, turned the pages of the holy book. Why not? But on the other hand, if I lose out, if it should all fall buttered side down, but better not to think of that. What do you say, Golde? What do you think of his proposition?
What do you want me to say? I know that Menachem Mendel isn't a nobody who would want to swindle you. He doesn't come from a family of nobodies. He has a very respectable father. And for his grandfather, he was a real treasure. All his life, even after he became blind, he studied the Torah. And grandmother Seidel, may she rest in peace, was no ordinary woman either.
A fitting parable. It's like bringing Hanukkah candles to a Purim feast. We're talking about investments, and she drags in her grandmother Tzeitel, who used to bake honey cake, and her grandfather, who died of too much drink. No wonder King Solomon traveled the world over and had hundreds of wives.
Let's make a partnership, Reb Tevye. Whatever God gives will divide in half. Believe me, Reb Tevye, you won't regret doing business with me. With God's help, the money will come pouring in.
From your lips to God's ears. There's just one thing I want to know. How does the mountain come to the prophet? You're over there in Yehupitz, and I am here in Anatevka, and money, as you know, is a very delicate substance. It isn't that I don't trust you, but as Abraham, our forefather, said, if you sow with tears, you shall reap with joy. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Would you rather we drew up a paper?
Hey, listen, if you want to ruin me, what good will a piece of paper do me? The mouse is not the thief. It isn't the paper that pays, but the man. If I am hung by one foot, I might as well be hung by both.
Believe me, Reb Tevye, I swear to you, my word of honor, may God be my witness that I have no tricks up my sleeve. I won't swindle you. I will deal with you honestly. I will divide our earnings equally with you. Share and share alike. 100 for you, 100 for me. 200 for you, 200 for me. 400 for you, 400 for me. 1,000 for you, 1,000.
Come here, Golda. Golda, you are my witness. That this is hard-earned money I'm giving him. Sew it inside his shirt so that no one would rob him of it on the way. You promise me that you will write to me no later than a week from Shabbos and tell me everything in detail. Menachem Mendel, let me embrace you and wish both of us a speedy recovery from poverty. Have a safe trip, and don't forget to write. What fiendish power money has.
Whom are you cursing, Tevye?
I'm not cursing. I'm just thinking. Daydreams and moonshine. Tell me, Golda, my love, do you know what sort of merchandise he deals in, that cousin of yours, Menachem Mendel?
What's that? A nightmare on my enemies. Here, he has spent a whole day and night talking with the man, and in the end, he comes and asks me, what does he deal in? For God's sake, you made up a contract with him. You are partners.
Yes, we made up something, but I don't know what we made up. If my life depended on it, I wouldn't know. But don't worry, my dear wife. My heart tells me that it's only money, and it's all for the best. And let's say, Amen.
Amen.
To my beloved wife, the wise and chaste Shana Shandel, greetings. First, I wish to inform you that I am, praise the Lord, in good health and at peace. God grant that we may always receive good tidings from each other. Amen. Secondly, I wish to advise you that the paper about which I wrote you is not, as you suppose, just ordinary paper. The word paper is only a form of speech. What I meant is shares, St. Petersburg shares, such as Putilov, Transport, Volga, Naltsev, and so on. These are factories where rolling stock is manufactured on shares. That is, they issue shares at 100 and you pay 300 for them because they give you a dividend. The more dividend, the better. But as nobody knows before the year is out what dividend will be paid, people keep on buying blindly. Now, this brings about a bull market. That is, paper goes up and people make money, and so do I. You should see Shana Shandel, the little people people here, mere brokers, poor devils who have made big money in no time, become fabulously rich. Now they live in country houses in Beiberich and go to watering places abroad. Their wives are decked with gold and steeped in silks and satins, and their children ride on cycles, and they keep governesses in their houses. They speak French and play the piano. They eat preserves and spend money like water, roll in luxury, and they're as merry as the day is long, and all this on paper. Now, my papers are tied up with Maltsev, Putilov, and with London. Now, take Putilov. It came in from St. Petersburg today at 178. Well, how can you help buying Putilov? Then there's Maltsev. Now, they say it's gone up to 1,350. Do you expect the fella not to buy it? Why, it's going up by leaps and bounds every day. On my Putilov, praise the Lord, I now stand to make quite a few hundred rubles, but I would no more think of selling those stocks than of giving them away. On the contrary, I am figuring on buying 150 more pieces of Putilov. So I'm 5 Maltsevs and a bit of Volga, and God willing, to lay my hands on a little transport too. For we have received word from St. Petersburg to be sure whatever we do, we must buy transport. Let me explain it to you. Everybody here has some transport. Men, women, doctors, teachers, valets, maids, artisans, absolutely everybody. In Yehupetz, when one Jew meets another Jew, they greet each other with house transport today. Now, you can easily see what a prosperous place Yehupetz is. Everybody speculates, everybody thrives, everybody makes money, and so do I. As I'm pressed for time, I'm making this letter short. In my next letter, God willing, I shall tell you everything in detail. Meanwhile, may the Lord grant us good health and prosperity. Give my fondest regards to everybody. Your sincere husband, Menachem Mendel.
To my honored and dear husband, the distinguished scholar Menachem Mendel, greetings. Firstly, I am pleased to let you know that we are all, thank the Lord, in the best of health. God grant that we may hear the same from you. Secondly, I'm writing to you, dear husband, that we have had a misfortune and a piece of good luck all in one. Our Moishe Herschel swallowed a copper coin, a kopek. I had just come home from the market. It was on a Friday. I had bought some fish, and they were fresh and frisky and were still flapping about. And there was the child, screaming his head off. I hit him, whacked him for all he was worth. But he kept on howling. What do you want, Schlemazel? Monster, what can I give you? Do you want my afflictions? Here, take this kopek. Thank goodness that quieted him down. A few minutes later, I started up in a fright. Moishe Herschel, where is the kopek? No more toppet, he says to me, and points to his mouth. What, did he swallow it? Woe is me! This is too terrible. I pick up the child. I look into his mouth. What am I going to do? Moishe Herschel, my darling, my poor little chick. Tell Mama where you put the kopek. I shake him, I hit him, I pinch him, I make him black and blue, and he keeps screaming. No toppet, yum yum. In short, I took him to the doctor, who told me to feed him potatoes. I tortured the poor child for 2 days, stuffed him by force. No milk, no water, just potatoes. Nothing but potatoes. I thought it was all up with the poor child. On the 3rd day, as I was tidying up the house, I happened to look under the child's pillow. There was the kopek. A plague on those doctors. They just don't know what they're about, those blundering idiots. So, here was more trouble for me, if I hadn't my fill of it. Mother, bless her, calls it interest on our troubles. Here, I have my hands full with your children, doctors, and what have you, while you, my prosperous breadwinner, haven't a care in the world. You flit about from Odessa to Yehupetz, and from Yehupetz to Boiberich. What for? Hear and rejoice? Papers, transport, portfolios. Here's a man who has taken it into his head that he can make a fortune at one blow. An illusion, says Mother, is worse than a disease. You little fool. Leave off your windfalls and miraculous stories. Share schmares, dividends, schmividends. Why, the thing isn't worth a pinch of snuff. You simply can't get rich on air. If you sow fever, says Mother, you'll reap distemper. Mark what I am telling you, Mendel. All those fine people in Yechupetz who you say have suddenly come into wealth are presently, God willing, going to be as poor as before, only more so. For I have no more faith in your transports and schmaltzivs than in the London of your Odessa. I think there is more to witchcraft and hobgoblins than there is to all your Yechupetz portfolios. Oy vey. If a dog were to eat up my heart, he'd go stark raving mad. It drives me crazy to see other wives having some say in their husbands' affairs, interjecting a remark now and then, or even raising a hue and cry loud enough to give their husbands a fit. Not like me. I have to speak softly to my husband. I don't dare utter an angry word to you or scold you for the shame that I have to suffer. Why do I have to put on a cheerful face in spite of it all? Oh, but good Lord, I am near the end of my strength. It seems that I am destined to flicker away silently until, heaven forbid, just burn out like a candle. May such be the lot of my enemies, or else simply burst with vexation. May all your big shots of Yechupetz burst and crack up. Oh, wishing you the same from the bottom of my heart, I am as ever your truly devoted wife, Shana Shandel.
Once a wife, always a wife. But don't worry, Shana Shandel. I'll turn my papers into green and red and yellow banknotes yet. I will show you that I can earn kosher money honestly and by my own wit. She thinks that I'm the only one trading in papers. Brodsky, the millionaire, trades in them too. The only difference is when I go to buy some papers, I first have to figure out how many I can afford. Whereas when Brodsky starts buying them, he buys 1,000 pieces at one time. There's 5,000, even 10,000. There's no fooling with Brodsky. When that man drives past in his carriage, the Jews doff their hats, and so do I. Wouldn't it be wonderful if I became a Brodsky one day? Just imagine if I were a Brodsky or a Rothschild. I would provide for every single person. Provide what? A living, of course. And to make a living, as you know, is the main thing. Without a living, there's no friendship. For the sake of a crust of bread, people, God help them, are prepared to ruin each other, cut each other's throats, poison each other. It's this business of making a living that it's at the bottom of it all. And making money leads to envy, and envy to animosity, which is the cause of woes and afflictions, persecutions, and slaughter. Money is the curse of the world. Do you follow me? But you see, if I were Brodsky or Rothschild, maybe I would do away with money altogether. Let there be no money. Let me ask you, what is money? Don't let us deceive ourselves. Money, if you want to know, is just a hoax, a delusion. People have taken a piece of paper, printed a picture on it, and written down on it 3 rubles silver. Money, I tell you, is sheer temptation, a lust, one of the most ruinous passions. Everyone is out to make it, and no one seems to have it. But if money didn't exist at all, then that would pose a little problem. Where would Jews get the money to provide for the Sabbath? I hope you'll excuse me. I'm terribly pressed for time. London is waiting for me. Odessa, Lilliput's, St. Petersburg. I must run. Maybe I can still catch someone on the stock exchange, trade in some of my papers, and make some money. Are you trading today? What are you selling? Did you hear? Maltsev hit the sky. Lilliput's fell. Don't burn your fingers. I'm selling short with a 3 ruble deposit delivered and paid for. Anshul, are you paying attention? I have primary certificates for Maltsev. I expect to realize on these stocks some 1,700 or 1,800 rubles. Now that makes a total of more than 17,000 rubles on the above stocks. Of the 5 Maltsevs which I bought outright, I am expecting to realize 4,000 rubles if I give them away. It'll be a crime if they aren't up to 2,000 apiece pretty soon, although they have slumped slightly the last few days.
Yeah, but that is nothing more than a trick of the Petersburg manipulators so that they can sell short. Now, let's talk about the cream of the crop. I mean the Lilliputs and the boogies. It's a matter of simple arithmetic. There are 18 days left till Ultimo. And since the Lilliputs have been going up at the rate of 100 rubles a day, you have only to multiply 18 times 100 by 5 to get a total of exactly 9,000 rubles.
What about the boogies?
Oh, they have been jumping 150 rubles daily. That amounts to no less than 18 times 150 multiplied by 5, which gives you 13,500.
Now, what about Volga, Dnieper, Don, and other miscellaneous items? In short, while I'm not ordering a huge purse after making due allowance for expenses, including brokerage fees and thieverage, I figure I'll have close to 40,000 or 50,000 rubles. Not bad. Keep an eye on our money, Anshul, and the minute something comes through, let me know so I can cash in and send for my wife, Shana Shandel. You know, Anshul, she doesn't believe a word of this. You know what she writes me here? Here, let me read you some of it. Did you say business is booming?
Did you say business is booming? Boom away then. Fly and soar for all you're worth. But rest assured that I wouldn't come to you even if you were on your deathbed. And your 50,000 doesn't impress me especially. But to begin with, you belong to me whether you have 50,000 or haven't a penny. And secondly, I wouldn't give a pinch of snuff for your so-called 50,000. Mother puts it this way: so long as the money is on paper, it's only paper.
That's a slice of women's talk for you, huh? No common sense, no imagination, and to top it all off, no trust. I'll show her. I'll thumb my nose at the world yet. I'll make it.
Excuse me, Kratsko. I hope I'm not disturbing you. I realize you're a very busy man and you have a lot to do, but if I could just have a moment of your time, I would like to ask you, do you have any fresh meat today?
I have rotten meat. I deliberately picked up rotten meat to serve my customers. If you want rotten meat, you can have it. Do I have fresh meat? Well then, what a question do I have? When I was at the slaughterhouse today, I said, make sure you give me rotten meat because only some people like fresh meat.
But could you be so kind as to give me a good portion?
Just the kind of portion you deserve.
Show me a nice fresh chicken, not today's slaughter, not yesterday's.
How does this one strike you?
This is a chicken? This is terrible. Well, what kind of chicken are you giving me here? Look at it. An emaciated, shriveled up piece of drivel.
You think it's such a big treat for the chicken to look at you?
May I have a nice piece of meat if it's not too much to ask?
With a bone or without a bone?
Give me with a bone. May he croak on a bone, God Almighty.
You want a gergele for stuffing?
Give me a gergele. What can I lose? If you have a husband like Menachem Mendel, you're a winner among the losers. May Tante Sarah's kugel get lodged in his throat, and may all the doctors in Yechupitz be at a convention in Minsk.
Good. So, what's the good word? What do you hear from your breadwinner?
What do I hear? I hear he compares himself to Brodsky, the millionaire. He says that Brodsky is just as human as you and I. He eats and drinks and sleeps like the rest of us. He saw him with his own eyes. May he see stars by day and the sun at night.
Brodsky, of all people, what business does he have with Brodsky?
And if I tell you he deals in putilivs, lilliputs, and maltsivs, you'll know?
Matzah? Did you say matzahs?
I'm talking about these little papers. 1 minute they blow up, and the next they shrivel and disappear. So I wrote to him, "Dear husband, If you really have a chance to make a few rubles now, and you insist on waiting until they grow into 50,000, you are either crazy or a brute without mercy for your wife. May she live to be 120. I told him to stop feeding me tomorrow. Tomorrow he'll buy me jewelry and linens and diamonds, everything tomorrow. Isn't that foolish? Who knows what tomorrow holds? Better buy today. Grab what you can, then you know you've got it. My mother, God bless her, says very wisely, what good are gifts to you, daughter? Let him send you some money. The angel of death never asks if the dead man's shrouds are ready.
Little papers, you say? How little?
Oh, who cares? All I care about is his whereabouts. Oh, did you hear what my wonderful sister-in-law spread about town?
Your sister-in-law, Yentl?
The same. May she go up in flames. She spread a rumor that Menachem Mendel had gone away to America and left me. May she not live to see that day, a grass widow. And where do you suppose she claims she got her information?
No.
She says that Sora Nechome heard it from Avram's son, Lazer Hershke's own lips, that Baruch Bench's son himself had seen a letter at Moshe Shmuel's written by Meir Mottl from America.
America, you say? Do you remember Battle Isaac? He picked up and went to America. Now he writes letters and tells stories about America. Your hair could stand on end.
So I ran over to Moshe Shmuel's. Where is the letter? What letter, he says. The one Meir Mottl wrote you from America. Who told you he did, says he. Baruch Bench's son, says I. How could that liar, that faker, tell you a story like that when I haven't spoken to him in more than a year?
Yeah, so this Battle Isaac, he writes that people make heaps of money in America. They amass fortunes. They literally scoop up gold. And business is so brisk that it simply makes you dizzy. You can take to anything you like. If you want a factory, you can set up a factory. If you feel like opening a bit of a store, you can open a bit of a store. Peddling, pushcart, a job in a shop. It's a free country.
I wasn't talking about Bear Isaac. I was talking about Baruch Bench's son, a plague on him. I was feeling good and sore, so I made a dash for his house, only to find that he has not been in Kasrilivke in 3 weeks. So I naturally went from there to Lazer Hershke's and gave him a piece of my mind for telling Sore Nechome the preposterous story of the letter, a lie from beginning to end.
A lie, you say? When you hear the letters Battle Isaac writes describing the size of the cities, the width of the streets, the height of the buildings, they've got a building there, they call it the Woolworth Building. He says the top of the chimney pierces the clouds, or maybe it shoots up even higher. The building probably has a few hundred stories. So guess how they get up to the attic? With a ladder. They call it an elevator.
Well, it finally became clear that she had made it all up herself. Yentl had, and laid it on pretty thick. I hope to see her laid out for it as only a loose woman like her deserves.
Who?
Yentl, my wonderful sister-in-law, may a prayer be said after her.
Ah. Is he sending you money from America?
Who?
Menachem Mendel.
How can he be sending me money from America if he's sitting in Yechupitz dealing in horseshoes, scraps of paper, and lily ponds? I wrote to him, Menachem Mendel, I am going to wait for a few more weeks until I am quite myself again. Then I'll get on the train and come to you, and God willing put an end to your shenanigans.
You're also going to America?
You know, Chatzkel, talking to you is like talking to the wall, and writing to him is like corresponding with a mule. In the meantime, be a nice guy and put my order on account. The minute I get the first few rubles, I'll pay up. You know I'm a good customer.
You, Shana Shandel, the nicest and the best piece of meat.
A blessing on your head. May you have a happy and healthy new year.
Amen.
my head. To my beloved wife, the wise and chaste Shana Shangle, greetings. First, I wish to inform you that I am, praise the Lord, in good health and at peace. God grant that we may always receive good tidings from each other. Amen. Secondly, I wish to advise you that I have been laid up for a week now. Not that I have been seriously ill, but I have been feeling strangely out of sorts. What's been bothering me the most is my stomach. It got so bad that I couldn't keep anything down all week long. I thought I was going crazy. Just fancy being away from the stock exchange for a week-long stretch with no information on market conditions. I'm not chas v'sholom with one foot in the grave. It's my stomach that's bothering me. And my head feels as if it's not in the right place, but the rest of me is in tip-top shape. I would go to the doctor, but doctors will be the death of you. All they do is stuff medicine and pills and herbs down your throat. Each one comes with a different remedy. This one says diet, starve yourself. That one says don't eat at all. Another crackpot comes along and tells you to eat. It looks like doctors prescribe what they themselves enjoy doing. They can drive you up the wall. Face me. My stomach is turning. Oh, the gay eyes. With the help of the blessed name, if all is well at Ultimo, I shall, God willing, realize all my papers and then make an about face. That is, I'll be a bear and sell out and so make money both coming and going. After that, I shall return to bull and make a pretty penny again. In this way, if it is the will of God, the 50,000 can increase to 100,000, and the 100,000 expand into 200,000, 200,000 to 400,000, and so on up to 1 million. How else do you suppose you can become a millionaire? As I'm pressed for time, I'll make this letter short. My next letter, God willing, I should tell you everything in detail. Meanwhile, may the Lord grant us good health and prosperity. Kiss the children for me and give my father's regards to father and mother-in-law and the rest. I am your sincere husband, Menachem Mendel.
Please, come in. Now, tell me what's on your mind. What is bothering you?
Just do me a favor, doctor. Listen to me until I finish. I don't mean listen to my heart or anything like that. About my sickness, we can talk later. In fact, I myself will tell you what's wrong with me. I just want you to listen to what I have to say. But not every doctor likes to listen to his patients. Not every doctor lets his patients talk. It's a bad habit of theirs. They don't let their patients open their mouths. All they know is how to write prescriptions, look at their watches, take your pulse, your temperature, and your money. But I've been told that you're not that sort of doctor. They say that you're not so passionate for the rubles as the rest of them. That's why I came to consult you about my stomach and get your advice. You know, look at me. You're looking at a man with a stomach. Medical science says that everyone must have a stomach, but only on condition that the stomach is his stomach. But when your stomach just isn't the stomach, your life isn't worth living.
Yeah, can you tell me in a sentence or two exactly what ails you?
I'll come to that. I know you're a busy man. Yeah, a doctor's life can't be easy, always running here and there. For you, there's no Sabbath, no holiday, no wife, no children. Oh, it reminds me of myself. For the life of me, doctor, I don't know what I'm dashing around for, but that's my nature. I like to panic and rush. What do I get out of it? Headaches and stomach aches. That's all. But I'll take a business deal anytime. For me, there is no bad deal. I sell shorts and longs over the counter and under the table, although they have slumped slightly the last few days. But this is nothing more than a trick of the St. Petersburg manipulators so that they can sell short. It's a matter of simple arithmetic. There are 18 days left till Ultimo. And since the Lilliputs have been going up at a rate of 100 rubles a day, you only have to multiply 18 times 100 by 5 to get a total of...
Please, come to the point.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I get carried away. I just can't. I can't help it. It's the way I am. People tell me it's nerves, and it has something to do with my stomach. Despite the fact that makes no sense logically. I mean, what connection is there between nerves and the stomach? Strange bedfellows. I mean, after all, where are the nerves and where is the stomach? Doesn't medical science say the nerves are mostly in the brain and the stomach? The devil knows how far away it is. Wait a minute, doctor. Hear me out. I'll be through in a minute. I want to tell you the whole story so that you'll be able to tell me why this plague had to come upon me. My stomach, I mean. Maybe it's because I'm always scurrying about and I'm never at home. Even when I am at home, I'm not at home. Yeah, I'm ashamed to say it, but I swear I don't even remember how many children I have and what their names are. A home is no home without a master and without a father. You should see my Shana Shandel, God bless her. She curses and pleads with me to come home. What are you squirming about, doctor? I'm going to finish in a moment.
Yeah, your name and address.
We'll come to that. Just have patience. That's a joke, patience. Yeah, no, from what I told you, you can see the reason from all my running around. And when you rush about like that, you catch cold in the train, you gulp down a quick meal and a flea-bitten inn, which gives you heartburn and indigestion. And what about all the odors and the stale air on the train? Isn't that enough to give you an upset stomach? Nevertheless, I was always healthy, never had any stomach trouble, had nothing to do with doctors. May it continue that way. Between me and you, doctors can drive you crazy. One doctor told me to walk a lot. Just get on my feet and head for God knows where. Then the other doctor told me to lie flat on my back and not move a muscle. Now try and guess which one of them is the bigger jackass. You want more proof?
So you've seen another doctor?
Yes, but that was in Gaschilivke.
So why are you skipping around from one doctor to another?
I didn't sign any contracts with any of them. You think the doctor in Gaschilivke sat me down and examined me properly? Oh, no. That they never do. Today's doctors, the long and short of it, was that he asked me to see other doctors. I don't need your advice, I told him, and pulled out a ruble and put it on his desk. You think he threw it back in my face? No, not at all. They like those little rubles. Boy, do they like those little rubles, more so than us plain folk. To sit down and examine a patient properly, that they'll never do. They don't let you say an extra word.
Listen. Either you tell me what's ailing you, or...
Please, doctor, you remind me of a colleague of yours. I won't mention his name. Quite a while ago, I came into his office, and before I could say boo, he told me to beg your pardon, to strip down and lie down on the sofa. Why? He wanted to examine me. Fine and dandy, examine me. But why can't I say a word? What good does his finger tapping and pinching do me? But no, he was in a rush, had no time. He said there were other people there on the other side of the door, each waiting for his next. Yeah, you doctors have taken up all the latest fashions. You have your next, just like the ticket windows at the depot or the stamp lines at the post office.
To tell you the truth, I don't have time either.
So now you're telling me you too have nexts waiting out there? Where do you come off having nexts? If you continue this way, you hear, you're going to have troubles, not a practice. And I didn't expect to come here without paying either. I am not the sort of person who'll ask you to do anything for nothing.
No need. You don't have to pay.
Well, I'm not going to force you to take my money. You probably have your own source of income. In any case, may God be with you. Goodbye. Pardon me if I've taken up too much of your time, but that's what a doctor is for. Oh, I feel so much better. Thank you. Thank you, Sid. To my beloved wife, the wise and chaste Shana Shandel, greetings. First, I wish to inform you that I am, praise the Lord, in good health and at peace. God grant that we may always receive good tidings from each other. Amen. Secondly, I wish to advise you that things have come to a dreadful pass. The stock market quotations that have come in from St. Petersburg have completely undone us. They have struck us like a thunderbolt. Like a bombshell, darkness has descended upon all the brokers' offices. An earthquake has shaken the exchange. Immediately after Petersburg, Warsaw too knocked the bottom out of the market. There was a mad rush, a panic, an alarm, a stampede. The speculators made a getaway. They simply faded out, and so did I. It's all up with the stock exchange now. The brokers' offices are deserted. The bankers are worried. It's the end of the world.
Tui, may I not live to see the day. I knew it'll come to that. What I would like to tell you, my dear husband, is that I really should write you a great deal more, but I haven't a thing to say. I have run out of material. For what good will it do me to nag you to death? It won't help me a bit. After all, I am not Blumizlata, who likes to eat her husband alive. I'm not going to chew you out. I'll not utter an angry word. I won't as much as make a sound. There is just one thing I'd like to ask you, though. A plague upon my enemies. Tell me this. Didn't I warn you that things would take this turn?
Just imagine, my dear wife, Maltsev, which I figured at 2,000, suddenly decided to slide down to 950. Or take Putilov. Who would ever have dreamed that it would go back to 67 from 180? To say nothing of transport, it's simply worthless. No one will touch it. That's also true of Volga, Dawn, most of the other papers.
Tell me, didn't I keep on writing to you? Run, Mendel, as men run from a fire. I kept on telling you, what good are rags and papers? As mother would have it, if you stay at home, you won't wear out your boots. But you wouldn't listen to me. You are chained to Yakupits. You dance around those darling little men and women. May they be laid out forever as an atonement for you and me and all of Israel. May the Lord give them an enduring affliction, or at least a spring fever to last the year round. You know how Mother, bless her, puts it. Better a small gift from God than a big gift from man.
As I said, all this is heaven compared with Warsaw. Warsaw is nothing short of a catastrophe. Since the beginning of time, there has never been a slaughter like the one that's going on now in Warsaw. Warsaw suddenly has the audacity to tumble Lilliputs from 2,400 down to 620. And then boogies, now they were in wonderful shape. We thought they were going to hit 3,000 any day. What do you suppose they're worth now? 400 measly rubles. Now, what do you think of a quotation like that?
All the same, I am surprised at you, Mendel. You do remember, don't you, what our sacred books say? And not of thy will dost thou live, and not of thy will dost thou die. Then why talk nonsense? Everything comes from God. Surely you can see what he has done to you, so you won't crave more easy money in Yakupits. A Jew must toil and suffer to earn a livelihood for his wife.
What a pretty how do you do this Warsaw's given us, enough to knock you cold. There it was, climbing and soaring, and then all of a sudden, take that! Now, you might ask how that's possible. Why, only yesterday there were mountains of money, but now Warsaw rips off 150, 200, 300, one whack, whack, whack after another. I am telling you, we are losing millions in Warsaw, literally millions. Speculators are burning their fingers, and so am I.
Take Nehemiah. He too is a respectable man and a man of learning. I can tell you that much. All the same, just see how he struggles. Never misses a fare, goes on foot, just drags himself along, works like a horse. Maybe he too would like to stroll up and down the streets of Yechupitz like you, cane in hand, without doing a stitch of work, and trade in old papers, and ride to Boiberik and watch the ladies of Yechupitz. But no, he is the proud owner of a wife whose name is Bluma Zlata. He understands her every gesture. Suppose he took a notion to come home from Yarmolinets without bringing her a cloak, a hat, a parasol. A plague and affliction is what she deserves. What do you think would happen to him? But look at me. All you do is right. You feed me with promises. Oh, and if you think I'm hankering after your presents, a plague on your brooches and diamonds. All I want is to see you alive and in good health. I can hardly believe that you are still living. Last night, I dreamt I saw Grandma Zeitel, of blessed memory, just as she was when she was alive, not changed in the least. Therefore, I would like to see you in good health and as soon as possible. Wishing you the same from the bottom of my heart, I am your truly devoted wife, Shana Shangle.
Good Lord. Whatever happened to our common sense? Oh, I wish I'd taken your advice, my dear wife. Then I could have thumbed my nose at the world now. I could have laughed at Brodsky. But this is apparently the will of God. Apparently, the right moment hasn't come yet. Isn't it lucky for me that my banker, God bless him, is not calling in the few rubles that I owe him? It's bleak and dreary all around. The exchange, they say, is as dead as a doornail and will never come to life again. There just isn't anything to turn to. I only wish the Lord would work some miracle for me. Have robbers set on me and take my life, or have me drop dead in the street. And as I'm very depressed, I'm making this letter short. Give my fondest regards to father and mother-in-law and the rest of the family, a sincere husband, Menachem Mendel. P.S. There's a saying, after the damage is done, you become wise. What I mean is the best time to make a mint of money is after disaster strikes. For now, they're giving things away for a song. And now that the bears are done, it's the time to go bull, seeing that you can get the best papers practically without a penny. I'm making this prediction, and I can take an oath on it, that whoever goes to Petersburg or Warsaw and buys anything now is sure to clean up. For when all is said and done, I think I have a right to brag that I know the game through and through. Huh? And if you think that it's only Brodsky who has all the money, you just wait and see how the wheel turns. I'm making this letter short. Give my fondest regards to father and mother-in-law and the rest, your sincere husband, Menachem Mendel.
Old man Rosenthal lay sick in bed. Soon the doctor came around and said, "There's no use crying, the man is dying. He can't live very long. Send my son here to my side," they heard the old man say. "I've got something to tell him before I pass away." Soon his son was sitting by his bed. "What's the matter, Papa dear?" he said. The old man said, my son, before my days are done, I want you to know Cohen owes me $97, and it's up to you to see that Cohen pays. I sold a lot of goods to Rosenstein and Son, and I owe you for 90 days. Levi brothers don't get any credit. Why, they owe me for 100 yards of lace. Now if you promise me, my son, you'll collect from everyone, I can die with a smile upon my face. Old man Rosenthal is better now. He just simply couldn't die somehow. He is healthy and he's very wealthy since he got out of bed. Such a change you never saw. He's got such rosy cheeks. Why, he picked up in just 1 week that should take weeks and weeks. Everyone who knew that he was sick, they couldn't make out how he got well so quick. They asked him to explain how he pulled through, and Rosenthal said, Cohen owed me $97, and my son went out and made poor Cohen pay. A bill was owed to me by Rosenstein and Son, and they settled on that very day. Now what could my son do with all that money? If I should leave it all and say goodbye, it's all right to pass away, but when people start to pay, that's no time